Say what you want about reality TV not teaching you anything, but on this episode of Real Housewives of New York, I learned that Burning Man and Coachella are not the same thing. There are booked and busy healers in the state of New York, and White Girl Wasted is the companion piece to White Boy Wasted. I got my notes. I hope y'all got yours. Let's get on into it. So before I get started, I just want to apologize in advance if you guys hear any knocking noises. There's a construction crew here doing some work on the apartment building today, and so you might hear some random noises. So just in case you hear them and I'm not paying attention to them and I'm pushing through, that's why. Because we got Housewives to talk about and they can't stop our shine all right now. So first off, Eboni and Sonja. I just found it really interesting that they're both having the same experience, albeit in different ways. So Eboni doesn't sleep in her master bedroom due to what I like to call the ghost of her past. The reason why she got that beautiful Tribeca apartment with those city views and just spacious, modern design is because that was the place that she thought her life was going to begin with her now ex-fiance. And so I loosely talked about this in the other video, or the first video for this season, of why their engagement ended, and it pretty much ended because they wanted different things. He already had children, and the children were the number one in his life, and she wanted to be the number one in his life. So, I don't think she was selfish for wanting that, but I do feel that if you want to be number one in someone's life, find a man that doesn't have kids so you can be number one to him, and then you guys can create the relationship that you want together. So getting back to the point, Eboni doesn't sleep in the master bedroom. It seems like she just uses it for mostly a closet. And child, I don't know if she's sleeping on the couch or in the kitchen or something like that, but that apartment's so beautiful. I didn't really even care about that. I was like, I'd sleep on the floor of the kitchen, I'd sleep in front of the couch, or I'd just sleep in front of the window watching those city views of, the Tribeca neighborhood. I thought it was gorgeous. But, I think there are different ways to approach this. Leah said if I was, inherited pretty much this apartment from this time with this man that he was paying for, I would live it up, screw other guys in the bedroom and stuff like that. But, I feel like Eboni was very emotionally involved in this relationship. And because of that, the bedroom represents where they spent a lot of time together. Hell, if you think about it, she could look at the kitchen and be like, well, that's where we had nighttime nookie. She could look at the damn dining room table and be like, that's where I made him some pork and beans, honey. And she could look at the living room and like, that's where we kikied and laughed about CNN and Fox News or something like that. So I just feel like the apartment is triggering. And maybe if you can't sleep in your master bedroom because of the ghost of your past, perhaps it might be, prudent to find another apartment. And I'm not saying you have to leave the neighborhood or whatever. You're a real housewife of New York now, so you need to pretty much stay in New York. But there are other apartments you can go to. Hell, you can move across the street from Luann, and you, Luann, and Tom can watch each other from y'all, respective terraces. Catch. All right, now Sonja and her ghosts. So Sonja, and I said this in the prior episode, the townhouse is not good for Sonja. It's really not good. And when everything is sort of being pulled out from under you in terms of the rug being pulled out under you and nothing in your life is going well, I feel like the townhouse is a reminder of what her life used to be, a happier time, right? But because she's in such a bad place and she's constantly at the townhouse 24/7, it just turns into a place of, ghosts and reminders of the past, reminders of happier times. And so when Sonja was crying about, the life with the ex-husband and what she feels she robbed her daughter of, and maybe she should have tried to make it work, and he didn't die, but it was like a death to her. It was very sad to watch, and I'm so sorry that Sonja is going through this. As I said in the prior video, I really hope that the Century 21 stuff would have worked out and Sonja would have finally found her lane on this show, you know, so that she could be successful in her own right versus just the family that she was attached to. But listen, sometimes you have to fall on your ass to get back on your feet. And I think this is a period of transition. I really hope that she gets this this townhouse sold in a quick fashion, because I feel like the longer that she's there, the more that she's going to have these thoughts. And sometimes misery loves company, and in this situation, the house is the company that causes the misery. So Sonja decided that she was going to do what rich white women do and call her up a healer. And healers are nothing strange to the Real Housewives of New York. I think I've seen prior seasons where she had this healer, and I think this is the same healer from prior seasons. Someone drop down in the comments and let me know if I'm correct. But I didn't see anything wrong with it. I really didn't. You know, some people might look at these healers and say this alternative medicine doesn't really work and stuff. And, you know, I sort of kind of remember Harry Potter in a sense. And believe me, y'all, I'm going to make a point with this, okay? But in Harry Potter, I think it was like the last book, he had a conversation with Dumbledore, and he said, you know, sir, is this all happening in my mind? And Dumbledore said, just because it's happening in your mind, who's to say that it's not real, right? So even if it doesn't make sense to people watching from the outside in terms of people that are really focused on modern medicine, Eastern medicine, XYZ, just because it necessarily doesn't make sense to you, if it makes her feel better and it helps her to, you know, clear out these issues that she's dealing with in her life, then who's to say that it's not real medicine? Because at the core, medicine is supposed to do no harm and it's supposed to make you feel better. So if it checks both of those boxes for her, I say, girl, invite 4 healers down to the thing and have them, you know, slap these little tiny tambourines or cymbals over you and, you know, put these glass structures and crystals all over you and make it work. So good for Sonja for getting back to what she knows, just in terms of what she knows works for her, just to deal with the ghost of her past. So the girls then descend upon the Hamptons for their vacation to Ramona's house. And it doesn't matter how many times I see Ramona's house, it's just so beautiful. I really love the renovations that she's done and that she continues to do. The house is spectacular. So Ramona's living good in these streets, y'all, and we see it through the screen. So I think that this will make an appearance more in next week's episode, but we can loosely talk about it now. But just in terms of the Ramona and the help comment, I think that, just like I said in the prior episode where I hope Eboni doesn't latch on to everything and make it like a racial issue. However, I think what helped Ramona in this situation is that the help that she was talking about was white. Because, child, if these girls were black, the actual help that was, you know, helping Ramona down to the house, it would have been a whole nother situation. Ramona couldn't get the girl's name right. You know, she says she can't keep her help straight and stuff like that. And, you know, Ebony's ear is fine-tuned for stuff that she needs to help these women to understand. And, you know, she latched on it. So do I think Ramona really meant anything by her help comment? Absolutely not. I do not believe Ramona has a racist bone in her body. I just feel that Ramona has a very absent-minded way about her, and it's very self-involved, if that makes sense. You know, she says things without thinking about them. It's always really her perspective over anything. And turtle time. Maybe she was drinking, maybe not. I just feel like it's classic Ramona, which is why I said turtle time. And we'll just move on from there. So Ramona is not hearing Eboni. And child, Eboni says, I really feel that it might be the decibel of my voice. Okay, that was a very classy way to go about it. A very classy read in terms of why she felt Ramona wasn't hearing you. And to my earlier point, Ramona wasn't hearing you because Ramona marches to the beat of her own drum. Mama is absent-minded. Mama is self-involved. And Mama only hears you when it applies to her. Okay, so good for Eboni. Listen, Eboni got a very Toni Braxton type low voice. So it could be, drop down in the comments, medical people, and let me know if, you know, the lower decibels of someone's voice makes it harder for them to hear in a conversation. It could be something to it, but I just really feel, just like Eboni said, she just needs to project going forward. So project to Ramona and get your point across. All right. So now we come to the Burning Man party, which I said in the intro I found out wasn't Coachella, but it's some sort of like, you know, similar type of festival with, you know, a Burning Man and perhaps some performances and people get dressed up, and it's a whole event. So I was sort of confused as to whose event it was, because earlier in the episode we find out that Leah says she wants to do a Burning Man dinner, and then we find out that, you know, the Burning Man celebration is at Ramona's house. So was it Leah's idea and Ramona brought it to life, or is Leah going to have a separate Burning Man party? Drop down in the comments if y'all understood, you know, the sequence of events there, and whether it was Leah's event and Ramona brought it to life, or vice versa. Y'all let me know. But anywho, the outfits and house design were amazing. So whoever conceptualized it and brought it to life, and hell, also paid for it, did a very, very good job. I thought that it was excellent. They transformed Ramona's beautiful backyard into the oasis of, I guess, what the Burning Man place represents, which just seemed to be, you know, pretty eclectic, bohemian type style, and just, you know, different events for the girls to get in touch with themselves and, I guess, nature and feelings and stuff like that. So amazing there. Then we come to the second healer of the episode. This was the Burning Man healer. So like I said, apparently in the state of New York, apparently in the state of New York, healers are booked and busy, okay? So if you are a healer out there, United States healers, international healers, please go to New York, because these rich white women are booking you and making you busier than you ever will be. So shout outs to all the healers out there, and if there are any healers in the audience, drop down in the comments and drop your information and whatnot. So the Burning Man healer, Ramona doesn't understand. I feel if Ramona did understand, that would have been a more notable topic to talk about, right? Ramona is generally confused. Like I told y'all, she marches to the beat of her own drum, okay? Some things are not for your understanding, to Leah's point. Just, you know, get into the mood of it, don't question it, and move forward. So it was funny that they did that little segment on Ramona, but I wasn't surprised that she didn't understand. Now let's talk about the healer testimonies. All the girls gave a testimony to the healer just in terms of the areas of their life that they're having problems with. And though all of them, you know, we're going to talk about Ramona's in a second, just in terms of the validity of it and whether it was, you know, actually real. But the ones that touched me really were Leah and Eboni, both talking about their grandmother. So Leah had said that her grandmother is in like the end stages of life, and you know, she's having problems letting her go because she's very close to her grandmother. And listen, for me, I am very close, or I was very close to my grandmother as well. Just telling a quick personal story. My grandmother has had 2 strokes, and she's still alive, but the person that I knew is pretty much gone. So I've already grieved for my grandmother. I've already let her go like that, and it's just in terms of when her body's actually going to leave the world. So you know, I take the lessons that my grandmother taught me, all the fun times we had. We used to play dominoes. I would give her pedicures, and we watched General Hospital. So I know more about soap operas than I could ever let on and ever tell y'all about. You know, Luke and Laura, get into it. So was Luke and Laura from General Hospital? I might have my my soap operas messed up. Don't worry about me, y'all. Anywho, so back to Leah. It was very touching that, you know, how much love she had or has for her grandmother, and that it was really affecting her in terms of her personal journey. So shout outs to Leah, shout outs to everybody out there with grandmothers, whether they're here or they're not. They can make an indelible mark in your life, and it's really sad when they go. So talking about Eboni's grandmother, Eboni said that her grandmother and her mother are the only real true family that she still has left. And she's had to sort of expand her definition of family because, you know, one day the mother and the grandmother will eventually leave this earth. And I think she mentioned that her grandmother is also in the end stages of life. So it might be sooner than we all think. But I could really identify with her when she said she needed to expand her definition of family, right? Eboni said that she thought that, well, you know, maybe family wasn't for her. Maybe, you know, in life you get certain things and family just wasn't in the cards for her in terms of the cards that she was dealt. And I sort of feel that way sometimes when it comes to relationships, because I see everybody around me, they're in a relationship, they're happy, they're doing this, X, Y, Z. And I thought maybe relationships aren't for me, you know, maybe that's not in the cards for me and my purpose is somewhere else. And so I really found it powerful when Eboni was talking about how she had to expand her definition of family to realize that, you know, the people that you spend your life with, your friends, co-workers, people in media, her legal profession, people that she interacts with. If they're close enough, they're pretty much family as well. They always say you can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends, and sometimes your friends become your family. So I think there's definitely a lesson in Eboni expanding her horizons to view friends and I guess associates as family as well. So I think we can all take away something from that. Ramona's act down to the healer. Now, 5 seconds before Ramona put on her Razzie, isn't that what it's called? Drop down in the comments and let me know if Razzie is when they have a bad performance down to the IMDb stuff. But Ramona 5 minutes beforehand said that she didn't understand the healer. She was asking all these questions. She didn't know what was going on. Okay, and then when it was time for her to put on her act, Ramona got very quiet. She was talking about how her daughter is her only family, and she's all alone and stuff like that. And listen, I am not trying to call Ramona's testimony false, okay? I think that y'all could tell from the eyes of the other girls in the group and the whole sentiment of that descended upon everyone. There was doubts as to the validity of Ramona's act, right? Or Ramona's confessional, her testimony. So Ramona, maybe do better. Maybe don't do the voice next time. I think the voice clued people off to this might be a little bit of an act. It got very, very soft, very, very ridiculous. It just didn't seem sincere. Okay, so if it was sincere, I apologize. And if it wasn't sincere, I told you it wasn't sincere. All right. So now the girls start the usual party antics in terms of getting white girl wasted, and Eboni taps out. This is what they do. This is why we love the Real Housewives of New York. They are very free. Listen, the pasties come off. They jump in the pool. Everyone's getting naked. They drinking. They having fun. They fool-la-la and having a great old time. And Eboni said, listen, I ain't done this in years. I've had a very emotional testimony down to this healer, and I got to tap out. So no shade to y'all, but I need to do some self-care. And it's baby steps before I'm able to get white girl wasted like y'all. So I don't have anything wrong with that. But anywho, y'all, if you liked what I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Stereo, and now Twitter at DatDamnDasher. And until next time, y'all, find a healer and get your chakras open and together. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.